In my post-secondary education, I've heard the idea of unstructured learning and how it is amazing for students to be part of unstructured learning. Um, Initially, I did agree, and I didn't really think much about it. But now that I've had this chance to do a final research project, I kind of wanted to look into this and see how unstructured learning affects students' learning. So the question I had was, how does unstructured learning affect the quality of education? At the top of my poster, I have the definitions that I use for these key terms of unstructured learning and quality of education, because both of these can vary very much on depending on um, one, the research, but two, also who the education is for. Some societies, some cultures value different things in their education over maybe what North Americans value in their education. Even province to province, I'm sure there's lots of discrepancies. So, um, what I used to define quality of education was what's the effect on the academics, how holistic is it? So, what other parts of school or the educational journey are important for students? And then the career readiness. So, ultimately, you need to have a job that makes money in order to survive in our current society. So, does that education provide that? If it does, then it's high quality education. So in this poster, I I have these kind of four main groups of questions that I asked and searched for in research. So the first one is, why should we adopt unstructured learning? So I just have some of the reasons why, and there was many out there, but these were the main ones that were supported by multiple journals. Um, so these are the reasons why we should adopt unstructured learning. And then I also looked at the other side. So why should we keep structure in our learning? These are some of the things that are important about the structures we have, uh, and maybe some of the things we should keep. And then the third one here is, how can we adopt unstructured learning? So just kind of some small examples of how teachers can implement it into their structured classrooms. And then the last one is, which structured activities should we keep? Um, so this one I think is kind of the bottom line of my whole project. Um, so there are pros and cons of both unstructured and structured learning, but I think the main thing that every journal talked about was being intentional with the learning experiences that you have with these students. I mean, the provocations that you create, they have to be intentional, and yes, they can be guided by their interests, but you have to be able to tie it back to something um, curricular based. Um, Otherwise, you're just maybe over exploring, which isn't necessarily always the best thing. There are times for just open exploration, um, but there does need to be a tie to curriculum and a certain focus. Um, and then I just have some additional questions at the bottom that I think are really important for teachers to consider when they're deciding how much structure they want in their classes.